I don't like to move house. I like to stay and improve.
If your house isn't working for you, then it's ridiculous just to carry on struggling against it. Move.
It's a battle being fought in homes up and down the country.
I can't see us growing up here as a family at all.
I feel that this place works.
One of you wants to stay.
The other is desperate to go.
I think we should stay.
We should move.
I think we should stay.
It's a beautiful little house.
Little house, you're right.
So Kirstie and I are back to help you decide.
Are you going to love it?
Or list it.
I'm heading up Team Love It because I think the expense of moving house can be better spent transforming your existing home.
We have to make this space we're in now a kitchen diner.
Oh, I love that sound.
While Kirstie's getting sledgehammer happy, I'm heading Team List It, tempting homeowners with dream properties well within reach.
Snow-capped mountains.
Wow, brilliant.
Come on.
Oh, no.
Oh, look at this.
There's the jacuzzi.
I trounced Kirstie at every moment.
Yeah.
Last time the score was 4-2. Was it? Yeah, 4-2 to me.
Now it's round 2.
You're pathetic.
Kind of thinking, damn, Kirstie's good.
Phil's dead in the water.
I can't lose again. I won't lose again.
As we once again ask couples that question,
Are you going to love it?
Or are you going to list it?
So let battle commence. This is not going to be
Not as
straightforward.
nice as he makes out. He's not that nice.
This week we're in the great city of Newcastle.
Alpha male grooming. Look, that's just the place for you,
My
Phil.
kind of place.
Do you think they could do those plug thingies?
Or plug thingies.
You know, the hair plug thingies.
Fuck off.
The suburb we're headed to is home to the most expensive street in the northeast, but we've always found the whole city to be very welcoming.
Have you ever been to the centre of Newcastle on a Saturday night?
I've driven through it.
It's
I
amazing.
vividly remember that. It was like a February.
We
was
did it
freezing
together.
Cold.
Yeah,
yes.
we did it together.
And no one was wearing anything.
No one was wearing anything.
but while I'm happy to dispense sartorial advice, we're actually here to help the Mackies. Because for Tom, an anaesthetist, and his wife Kathleen, a local GP, work can be all-consuming.
Any temperature or vomiting?
So when they head home to their Victorian terrace, just 10 minutes from the city centre, they're looking for a little peace and quiet.
That way.
Though, unfortunately, daughters Erin and Emily have other ideas.
Where are your clicks, Emily?
I think they're down the back of the sofa.
I think this house has become dysfunctional in how we use it. We're constantly shouting at each other through to the kids in the front room. It's just ridiculously noisy.
And with no real back garden in this inner city home, there's also no escape.
All right, all right.
And I think it's time as a family that we just moved on, had a bit more space.
But Kathleen couldn't agree less.
I would be quite happy to stay here forever.
Which is why they've been arguing whether to love or list their home for a staggering 4 years.
We're just outgrowing the place. And it still doesn't have some of the things that were on my hit list when we first moved in. For example, off-road parking and a garage. and a garden, sorry.
We have got a garage, you just full of your stuff.
Yeah, well.
In fact, sports mad Tom has taken over much of the house as well, with his 4 boats, 5 canoes and 5 bikes.
Tom's hobbies do encroach onto our living space quite a lot.
With nowhere for Tom or the girls to play, his solution is a bigger house in the country. But city girl Kathleen insists she's already living in her forever home.
It's a bit like my nest. I've had my chicks here. I can sit and look at her.
I think even if we stay, it will only work for so long.
Well, we'd have to invest again and again. So maybe go, maybe go up into the loft.
After 4 years of arguing about loving versus listing and city versus country,
Life's a compromise.
It is.
Life
It is.
is a compromise.
Tom, Kathleen and the girls are pinning all hope of peace on us.
I don't think you have to park on the pavement, Phil.
Well, I've got quite a big car, you know. Big boy, big car.
I knew you were going to say something like that.
She loves me, really.
Stand back, you don't want to be in their face. Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Phil.
Nice to meet you, Tom.
How do you do?
Nice to meet you.
Morning, Kirstie.
Hi.
Do you want to come in?
Oh,
Love
you're very
to.
kind,
Thank you. See what it's all about.
There's bucket loads of potential underneath all of Tom's clutter. It's just crying out for the magic touch.
And in such a desirable postcode, it'll sell in no time.
Well, why don't we start with just who wants to do what? Who wants to stay, who wants to go?
I want to stay.
OK.
And I definitely want to go.
That sounds quite entrenched. Is this a discussion? This a discussion that's been going on for some time?
This was never going to be my sort of final resting place. And I sort of moved in as a stopgap, didn't we?
No.
I sort of moved in as a stopgap, didn't we? I think that tells the story.
And then we had one child and sort of filled up the space. And then we sort of...
Just for the record, it's not the child that's filled up the space.
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably not.
Definitely not. 5 seconds in this house has told me that.
As Madam and I take the tour,
It is a very nice house.
It's huge.
Yeah.
it's pretty clear storage is a big issue in this house. And while I can solve that problem by encouraging the Mackies to move,
This really is a dumping ground. Goodness me.
Kirstie's already making plans with her infamous sledgehammer.
Oh, I love that sound.
That sounded hollow.
Yeah. That is music to my ears, Phil. That could be the 9th Symphony. Is there a 9th Symphony?
No, it's an 8.
Actually, there is. I just like pretending Kirstie isn't clever.
While Tom and Kathleen are working to a tight budget of £20,000, I may be able to solve many a problem by turning their formal dining room into a kitchen diner. After all, it's said the traditional dining room will be obsolete by 2020.
Straight away, first 11 seconds, gut instinct. Wall comes down. So this is one big, beautiful kitchen, diner, sitting room, fantastic.
All straight the way through.
Communal living, straight the way through. And at the back, masses and masses and masses of storage.
I can see that it could work for them, actually.
Yes, yeah. I think it's innovative.
Even if you do say so yourself. Though meanwhile, I've got a budget of £375,000 to find a house that tops Kirstie's vision.
Though on top of that, they'll have to fork out nearly £9,000 in stamp duty and £6,000 in legal and moving costs. All the more reason to reinvest in their own house rather than the taxman. And the next stage of that plan is turning the kitchen into storage a-go-go.
You'd keep this corridor here,
Yeah.
essentially, and then you'd have lovely pantry, laundry room, wet room. Yeah.
I hate you!
You are looking nervous.
What's more, our very own time and motion study proves my point. The dining room is used only as a glorified cupboard, while for 56% of the day you'll find the kitchen is in full swing.
Well, you've made a good start on the storage front, Allsopp. But walk through the courtyard that's no good for the girls to play in, and you'll arrive at the Motherlode.
Goodness me. There is a hell of a lot of stuff in here. Games and toys and sails and lawnmowers and goodness knows what else.
Oh yes, it's the reason 30% of us Brits move house in the first place. The need for more space.
Maybe so, Phil, but despite Tom's best efforts, this house actually has loads of room.
Phil, this isn't a bedroom, it's a flat. This is enormous. I'm ignoring the bicycle on top of the wardrobe. I know it's there, but there's a lot of space in this house.
Which means Phil might want to give up around about now.
Well, we've had a good look round. Lovely house. Very
Yes,
nice house.
Very nice.
I shouldn't have said that, should I?
Playing right into her hands.
There's so many small things that you can do to radically change how you live in this house. Relatively inexpensive things, which will make it so that it works for all of you.
Well, I like that idea of it being cheap. That definitely.
And I like the idea of it being radically different.
This is the house I've been waiting for, and when I'm done, the Mackies will barely recognise it. Not only is a nifty bit of demolition on the cards, I'm going to create a kitchen diner, utility room, even a playroom for the girls, and of course solve the storage crisis.
Quite a feat on £20,000.
Even so, Phil Spencer, you don't stand a chance.
I think I've got my work cut out, but I'm going to concentrate on the storage, utility room, parking, and try and get you the extra bedroom.
Knock yourself out.
Though there is a key part of this search no one seems to be openly discussing. Tom's long-standing dream of moving to the country. However, to persuade Kathleen, I also need to find houses with easy access to the city, open-plan living and 4 big bedrooms.
It's raining on your parade, Phil.
It is a bit, isn't it? I'm not giving up, though. I am not giving up, but I do think you probably got the better end of the stick here.
Oh, well, I've been trying to persuade you to move for the last 4 years, so this might actually make your mind up.
Or yours to stay.
Well,
I feel that I can offer them other things that will solve other parts of their life.
And I respect your feelings, I just don't agree with them.
Yes, I've got my work cut out.
In Newcastle, family life is anything but relaxed for doctors Tom and Kathleen Mackie.
Doctor, people keep ignoring me. Next, please.
But after 4 years of arguing whether to love or list, I've got ideas that'll give them the home they need without moving.
Yeah.
I hate you.
You are looking nervous.
But while Kirstie's singing from Kathleen's hymn book, she can't give Tom what he really wants. And that is the great outdoors.
This house is huge, and Phil is sadly mistaken if he thinks he can head further out of town and find this kind of ceiling height.
Sorry, Allsopp, the #1 reason we fall in love with a house isn't architecture, it's location.
Well, this is exciting, isn't it, Tom?
it is. It's quite good to finally get Kathleen out and actually looking at some houses.
I honestly do not think what we both want, where we want, with what we've got, money-wise, I just don't think you can do it.
I think he can.
Although £375,000 is a decent budget in the northeast, the bigger challenge is convincing Kathleen that life exists outside the city centre.
And I'm quite encouraged, actually, you're heading towards the coast, so...
Don't worry, Kathleen, we're less than half an hour from the city. It's a short drive, but it puts us in the seaside town of Whitley Bay. Perfect for Tom's love of all things sporty, and here, a 4-bed semi is around 10% cheaper than where they live now. Just a leisurely 15-minute walk from this gorgeous beach is a house I think the Mackies will love.
Relax, everyone. Parking on your own driveway, in front of your garage, outside your semi-detached house.
Not far to work. You're doing okay.
Yeah,
You're doing okay.
ticking all the boxes, yeah.
Well, Tom, allow me to tick a few more, as this house is perfect for the entire family.
So you've got a little entrance porchway.
Very handy.
Dump your things
Yes.
through into quite an impressive hallway.
Ooh, nice and wide.
Yes.
Even more impressive, it leads to 4 bedrooms upstairs. And on the ground floor, 2 rather generous reception rooms. But I'm not finished yet.
Into the kitchen with the utility room. Nice. Looking out across the garden that Kirstie can never offer you.
With the trampoline.
I'm afraid I'm setting the bar quite high to start with.
Though fortunately, the price is bang on budget, as this house is about to be marketed at just under $375,000.
Wow.
What do you make of that?
Wow. Didn't expect that.
Playroom, dining room.
Yes, but it's not the open plan that we were hoping for. Just thinking in our house, we're getting a nice kitchen done.
We'll never have a garden.
Or parking space, or downstairs bathroom.
So while Tom's seeing the potential, Kathleen's still pledging her allegiance to Camp Kirstie. Hopefully a peek at the 4 bedrooms will change her tune. Maybe not.
Good size room.
It is, don't get me wrong, but my only thing is we're not getting our 4 poster in here, are we?
OK, so now she's having a laugh.
I know Kathleen doesn't actually want to move, but I can't help feeling she's kind of making it deliberately difficult for me.
It's smaller than the room, obviously, the girls have got.
So we'll see how many bedrooms there are.
Like I said, there's 4 of them. 1 more than you have now.
It's a fantastic house, it really is. But it's her decision.
There's no shower.
Yeah.
That's the way she wants to play it. I'm going to have to up my game even more. Not getting away with this.
Still, no need to tell Kirstie I've had a slight hiccup.
Just letting you know, dearest, I'm showing them a house with a garden, private parking, garage, downstairs loo, and 4th bedroom. Can you compete? No.
This is the 4th bedroom you asked for.
Right. What kind of size is it?
It's another kid's bedroom.
It's small though, isn't it?
Well, more space I can definitely find. The only problem is we're already at the very top of Tom and Kathleen's budget.
The only way I'm going to be able to offer you a larger property is by going rural, but then you're going to be away from the metro and away from the shops. So it's whether you're prepared to trade on that or not.
I would look, but it would have to have, if not metro, then at least a good bus route.
OK.
You'd probably want a pub, would you?
All good doctors.
Something tells me the drinks will be on Phil, because back at base, I'm about to create the kind of family-friendly layout he can only dream of.
It's looking good. Needs a bit of a spruce up, but it's looking good. And will remain reasonably unchanged by the KMA plan. The rest of the house, on the other hand, ha ha ha.
Even more remarkable, it won't cost much more than the money they'd have to fork out just to sell up and move.
He's a nice man, Phil, but he's really not in charge of getting the kids to school, sorting everything out. So he's no good to you. So, brace yourselves.
I'm intrigued. Right. Oh.
While this house has plenty of space, the rooms just don't work for a young family. But rather than knock down a few walls as I first thought, I've come up with an even cleverer solution. And that's transforming their unused dining room into a sophisticated kitchen diner. As for the existing kitchen, that's being divided in 2, giving Erin and Emily their own playroom out of the way of Mum and Dad, and it will have direct access to the courtyard. Meanwhile, the other half will be transformed into a storage-filled utility room with its own entrance from the garage.
Never thought of that.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's completely... Yeah.
It's ticking a lot of boxes that we want ticking.
And this does not cost you any more than £20,000.
No, it's brilliant.
I'm kind of thinking, damn, Kirstie's good.
Phil's dead in the water.
Inspired by my blue sky thinking, 6 weeks later, the Mackies have moved out and the builders have moved in.
Hey,
Wow. That's changed a bit, hasn't it?
I know. Now we can visualise it though, can't we? And we can work out where we're going to put things, which would be great.
What was a slightly dysfunctional kitchen has all but vanished. In its place, the humble beginnings of a playroom for the girls and the brand new utility room, complete with its own entrance.
Happy?
I'm excited. Yeah. It's all happening.
It is.
But take a look at the other rooms in this house, and I'd say space is still a very big problem for the Mackie family. Mind you, it's easily solved by following Tom's dream of selling up and moving to the country. Although, despite appearances, we're only 20 minutes from where they live now.
Views are getting better and better.
They are.
Outdoor pursuits are getting better and better. Tom's smile's getting bigger and bigger.
Oh, I need Kirstie.
No, Kathleen, just an open mind. Welcome to the county town of Morpeth, once voted one of the best places to live in the UK. Ideal for Tom's many outdoor pursuits. But even better, it offers every amenity a family could need.
I'm trying to be open-minded. I am.
Yeah, you
I
actually
promise
almost sounded open-minded then, Kathleen. You did a very, very good impression of someone who was about to be open-minded.
I've been practicing.
She did say
No.
she'd been practicing.
Clearly, the city versus country debate is still raging on. But I wonder if even Kathleen can find faults with the character home I've found them.
Welcome.
Right.
Come up this way into a little courtyard development converted from a farm about 15 years ago, and I think there's about 7 individual units here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whilst you are rural,
Yeah.
there's still a community.
It's quite far out of Morpeth. That's what I'm thinking.
What do you reckon? 4 minutes, something like that?
Yeah, I'd say 4 or 5. Not very
In the
far.
car, though, and getting 2 girls into a car can sometimes be a nightmare. It can.
But they'll get bigger and less of a nightmare. Their father will look after them and discipline them and teach them to get into the car quickly.
Now, if Kathleen can brave that arduous 5-minute drive to the shops, then this property could work for the entire family. After all, we have a garden for the girls to play in.
Okay.
Super.
Here we are.
We have a solution for their storage woes. And, of course, we have...
Off-street parking.
Yes.
Tick. Good man.
Phil, what are you doing to
Kirstie
me?
and Kathleen can't compete.
Nice.
But it's inside this barnyard conversion that things really get exciting.
Big room, fireplace.
Feature fireplace.
And the views.
That's stunning.
Proper countryside.
Proper country views.
It is very nice.
There's a different look about her face, isn't there?
She's getting worried, I think. That's nice.
We need. This is only one room.
Yeah.
We need to see a lot more.
That's good.
Believe me, there's a lot more to see. As well as generous living and those fabulous views, we have 4 double bedrooms.
This is actually a really good size for a 4th bedroom.
Carry on down the hall, and you'll also find the perfect kitchen diner, bigger than the one Kirstie's planning to boot.
Nearly put that in our kitchen.
Yes.
It's got its fate. It's got your names written all over it.
And best of all, this house is bang on budget at £375,000. The only possible problem, Kathleen's reluctance to leave the city.
You don't even have to move home. You've packed and moved out.
Yeah.
You just bring it all
Just
here and
transfer it
unpack
here.
it. Easy. What could be simpler?
The simplest thing is not to move. I'm sorry it is, though.
But this is going to offer you a completely different lifestyle to go with the different house. Instead of looking out onto a street.
I think it's you that really wants a different lifestyle, though. Not necessarily me. I don't know about the girls, but yeah. So that's the difficulty we're going to have.
Actually, that's the difficulty I'm having right now. Because while Tom's almost ready to make an offer,
Nice.
Kathleen's still making excuses.
There's no separate dining room yet. Yeah. And that garden.
It's better than what we've got at the moment.
Yes, it is. But it's not brilliant.
Sounds to me like someone needs a gentle reality check.
If you're going to move, even if you stay, there'll be compromises made. It's just finding the right ones to suit everybody.
Grand.
Or as many people as possible.
Though clearly one compromise Kathleen's not going to make is moving to the country.
And that is the kind of lifestyle that Tom wants. But she doesn't, and therein lies the problem.
I know we're mid-build, but I'm still loving our house.
As doctors Tom and Kathleen Mackie enthusiastically debate whether to love or to list,
Don't get me wrong, I think this is definitely improving what we've got. But I don't think it's making it the house I want to live in for the rest of my life, which is what I'm after.
I'm practically reworking their entire ground floor in order to give them the space and the storage their young family is desperate for.
I think Phil showed us some great houses. I just think you're not willing to compromise in where you're willing to live, which is the stumbling block, blatantly.
But while I love your work, Kirstie, especially the early stuff, the only way to really help this family is by moving.
Oh, Phil, you're so naive.
No one's going to move from one of these houses. I mean, look, these Victorian structures are spectacular. But I'm thrilled that they've moved out, because it might be that I can get in and shuck out.
Now, just 10 days into their 6-week build, already my grand designs are taking shape. What was a dumping ground for both Tom and Kathleen is now well on its way to being a fabulous kitchen diner. An investment which, it's claimed, can add up to 6% to a property's value.
Wow. I mean, it's just so generous.
But what's really going to change the way the family lives is dividing their former kitchen into 2 brand new rooms.
The playroom is a fantastic size, and the utility room is going to have an enormous amount of storage.
The second most common use for a spare room in the UK is storing junk. I was hoping they'd have this sorted before they moved out.
You can make it look perfect, but you have to get people to practice what you preach.
After all, this really isn't the kind of storage solution I had in mind.
I'm sure that is not good for that bed.
It's not that good for the kayak either, but...
Maybe so, but I'm more concerned all this clutter will sabotage what we're trying to achieve here.
You never want to go searching for something and have to forage through 50 things you don't use, don't want, don't need in order to find the one thing you do need. I mean, I know... Is that a VHS player?
Oh.
It is, yeah.
Does that bring back memories?
That, along with Tom's almost endless collection of sports paraphernalia,
I'm gonna say, how many more water bottles have you got?
is most definitely past its use-by date.
I genuinely believe that it might be a good idea to get a skip, find 2 days off when you're both off on the same day, send the girls to one of your parents, and then the chuck out is going to be life-changing. Yeah. I mean, what my other half calls posh landfill.
Posh landfill, love it.
Even though the grown-ups aren't exactly leading by example, I want to make sure the girls' playroom doesn't add to the clutter problem. And for that, we need clever storage that doesn't break the bank.
Tom and Kathleen have spent every penny they've got on this build. So shopping is never going to be shopping. It's more often going to be about ideas.
And my number one piece of advice is to repurpose. Anything from furniture you already have to a laundry basket can be converted into storage. And if space is tight, your furniture needs to multi-purpose. After all, there's no reason why a cupboard can't be a blackboard, a stool a storage cube, or a bunk bed a desk.
See, I think these are really cool.
But given that Tom's a lifelong hoarder, let's start with the basics, such as never underestimating the power of a basket.
That is the kind of thing you want, isn't it? Is that kind of thing.
That kind of thing, pull it out.
And then they can pull it out and then they can put it back.
They're not actually offensive.
These are not offensive or
practical.
Expensive at, £9.99.
Yeah.
Make it your mission in life to get absolutely everything off the floor.
That's what I want you to put down the back alley.
And above all else, have nothing in your home that isn't either practical...
Oh, look, that's a bin.
Is it a bin?
Yeah.
Or beautiful?
I don't know. I think everyone's got room in their life for a
Horse's head. What are you trying to say?
a
Mapping?
papier-mâché
Horse's head.
horse's head. But, you know, that is... I can't encourage you to chuck stuff out and encourage you to buy stuff at the same time.
Then again, it's a lot cheaper than moving house, Tom. Just saying.
So it's all coming together.
Yep.
Coming together very nicely, I think.
The great thing about doing a big project is that you address the way in which you live in your existing house, and it changes everything. Phil can't do that, can he?
Oh, really? Well, while you've been swanning round the shops, some of us have been hard at work. For our third outing, we're going back to where we started, Whitley Bay, as clearly it's a middle ground that Tom and our city girl can actually agree on.
I can see the sea.
We are heading towards the coast. We're heading back to Whitley Bay.
Given that Morpeth was too rural, the bay offers the best of both worlds. Though this time, I'm taking a different approach. Forget curb appeal, this house has storage appeal.
Right now, I've got a little game for you two.
Yeah?
There are 4 garages. One of them holds the key to your new home.
I'll go with that one.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's have a look. Oh! It's open! Come on.
Okay, right.
Now, it's with confidence that I say this house can accommodate even Tom's storage needs.
Garage just for stuff. Don't worry about the boats.
That's right.
Don't worry about the boats.
Okay.
As here we have more space than you can shake 5 canoes at.
That
More stuff.
is the boat shed.
Yeah.
Long and thin, built with purpose in mind.
It's a canoe shed. That's brilliant.
That's Tom happy. Now for the rest of the family.
This is the garden, the walled private garden. But this,
Oh, wow.
come on,
Oh, no.
This-
It's even yellow.
is the open plan living that you can never create at home. This is, I walked in here and went,
It's not funny. Oh, gosh.
Ha! Dr. Kathleen can't diagnose a problem. The decor does need a little freshening up, but a few coats of paint's a small price to pay for both open-plan living and a separate space for the grown-ups.
Are you ready for some more?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
It only gets better. Are you sure? you might regret that.
Head upstairs and you'll find 4 large bedrooms, as requested. But wait, there's also an attic conversion, something I know Kathleen's keen to do at home. Average cost upwards of 20 grand. And this one even boasts an ensuite.
So this is the 5th bedroom.
Okay.
And as for price, this 5-bed character home is on the market for a negotiable £395,000.
I don't want to put too fine a point on it, but there you are, doing up your lovely house and saying to yourselves, if we stayed in the long term, we would have to do a loft.
Yeah.
And I'm showing you a house with a loft, with a garden, with a boat shed and with open plan living.
Yeah.
In an area that I feel that both of your lifestyles are quite well accommodated. I don't want to oversell it much, but you see what I'm driving at.
There's a lot of food for thought there, isn't there? Yeah. There is.
More like a banquet, I'd say. So while Tom and Kathleen think things over...
Look at that. Different.
Isn't it?
I'd just like to take a moment to gloat.
I know pride comes before a fall and all that, but I do think I've nailed it. Just saying.
There's little bits and bobs everywhere, isn't there?
Yeah.
Little jobs.
No, totally.
Then again,
You're not going to get the off-road parking.
that pride and fall thing I mentioned...
It's a lot of house.
There's quite a few jobs as you go round. You
Oh,
realise
yeah.
there's
It's
quite
a
few
bit of
jobs,
a, it's a
isn't
bit of a project, but it's not. They're only little jobs.
might just be the case after all. Don't tell Allsopp.
there? I think it needs too much doing to it.
In what sense?
New kitchen, new bathroom.
I really like the one in Morpeth.
Yeah. I know you did. I know, I can tell that. You know my concern about that one is obviously
into a taxi.
where it is. Yes, and I'll be an ultimate taxi for the girls. So for you, it'll be fine. Off you go with your dog and your running and everything. But for me, it's going to hinder my lifestyle.
Which means potentially we're back to square one. Tom wants rural and Kathleen's finding reasons to stay put.
We've got to find a way whereby there's a bit of give and take from both sides. I think that is the best on the market.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
And I think it would be extremely difficult to replicate that and find somewhere else with the open plan and with the 5th bedroom. I'm not saying buy it, I'm not saying it's the right thing, but have a careful think about it.
Food for thought, certainly.
No, we will. We'll think about it carefully. Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Sorry, I've got something cough. List it. List it. It keeps coming back. I don't know. I can't get rid of it. That was terrible. List it, list it, list it. I'd say of all of the couples that we've worked with,
Oh, big statement coming
well,
here.
Kathleen and Tom,
myself.
they do seem really a long way apart from one another. There just seems to be no common ground.
The biggest division being country versus city.
But I think there are lots of couples all over the country where the bloke has a dream and the woman
His
is
wife
living
stops
the
him.
reality.
I want to disagree with you strongly, but I have an annoying feeling that you might be right.
Oh, Phil, that must be an overwhelming emotion for you.
While we may never agree, for Tom and Kathleen, it's time to answer that question.
Are you going to love it?
Or list it.
When we first met Dr. and Dr. Mackey, their terrace home had become a point of gridlock. Thanks to a mountain of clutter, toys everywhere you looked, and a dysfunctional layout.
And I think it's time as a family that we just moved on, had a bit more space.
Life's too stressful anyway, don't rock the boat.
So, I've spent the last few weeks reinventing Victorian architecture.
It's much bigger than anticipated. Oh, I'm thrilled with that.
Meanwhile, I've tried to find them not only more space, but the perfect balance between town and country.
Phil, what are you doing
Kirstie
to me?
and Kathleen can't compete.
Now the builders are gone and the families move back in, well, it's time to settle the debate once and for all.
What have you done to this house, Kirstie?
Ah, what haven't I done? That's the question. What haven't I done?
We haven't made the garden any bigger, that's for sure.
I know. Well, that's true. Well, that wouldn't be possible. Oh, I need to blow my nose.
Oi!
How are you doing, Phil?
Actually, Phil, you'll probably need that hanky. Because while this house used to make Tom and Kathleen's already hectic lives even more stressful, now I've completely revolutionised the layout. Remember the dining room that was drowning under the mountain of clutter and Tom's sports equipment? It's been utterly transformed into a sophisticated kitchen diner.
Go on, Phil.
Went to this old dining room. Oh, my goodness me.
What's more, finally, the most important room of the house is at its very centre.
No longer a dining room.
Very different, isn't it?
It's very, very different.
This room has in it utensils for preparing food, end of, and food itself.
I knew you'd come up with something quite radical.
It really works, doesn't it?
Word is great.
It's good, isn't it?
Great
Yeah.
is the word.
Even
It's
I'm happy
fantastic.
with this room.
It may look $1 million, but to keep that £20,000 budget on track, we've gone for an off-the-shelf kitchen, and a little paint has given the dining room suite a new lease of life. I've also managed to repurpose some of Tom's sports equipment.
I'm looking at it, I'm thinking it really
It does work.
The colour works.
Yes, I agree.
The whole thing just works. And you know what? It doesn't take anything away from the grandeur of this house.
But the revolution doesn't end here. The ground floor now also boasts its own loo. And what was one very dark, dated kitchen is now 2 rooms. The first, a dedicated playroom for daughters Erin and Emily, with storage that not only keeps the toy collection under control, it also multitasks.
Oh, look at all that paint. Everything is all there, all the games, everything.
Tom, it's all neat and tidy and everything.
I haven't had a chance to play with any of them yet.
What's more, brand new French doors flood the room with light. And while I couldn't quite give Tom his garden, I have made sure the courtyard now lives up to its potential.
And it's kind of outside in, you know, they're getting fresh air.
Playing.
Just sit there.
It also means that we're no longer shouting from here all the way the full length of the house at the girls to try and get them to come and do things.
I could just bang on the window and tell them to come in and get their food or stop doing that. So, yeah.
You write it down on a piece of paper and it comes to fruition, and it turns out it was quite a good idea.
I can't possibly comment. Professional no comment.
Don't you worry, I'm happy to do all the talking. My next innovation, tackling Tom's sports gear that was scattered throughout the house. Now, the other half of the old kitchen is the family's first defence in the war against clutter. A brand new utility room.
We've got the drying, we've got the washing machine, and we've got the tumble dryer.
And you've even got the bike storage in here.
Yeah. Safe, dry, secure.
Not in the bedroom.
And not in the bedroom.
There were bikes everywhere, wasn't there? Before.
It's great though, because we have a cupboard for everything. If we want to go to the beach, we just pull the beach cupboard open and grab the stuff. Beadnell, camping, it's fab.
I mean, of all of the rooms have been great, but this one will transform the way you live your life.
In other words, the Mackies now have the perfect family home. And they will, when a certain someone keeps his promise to finish tidying up the garage. Even so, for a budget of £20,000, the builders have made a remarkable transformation.
No argument here, Allsopp, but have we succeeded in resolving an argument that's been dragging on for 4 years?
Of all of the couples that we're working with, you began this process really very far apart. And I don't know if you're any closer together now.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You're right, we were a long way apart at the start. What I want doesn't quite align with exactly what you want. So, you know, the Morpeth house you showed us out in the sticks, that ticked all of my boxes.
Does this house function better now than it did?
Yes. I loved it to start with, the house, and I love it even more now all the changes have taken place.
It's undeniable, this house is a lot better than it was when you two first came here.
So, are you going to love it?
Or list it?
Do I love this house? I think the answer is no. However, it is a lot better than it was. I think we've had a lot of angst about what to decide to do.
So even last night we were debating about what do we do? What decision do we come to?
But you hand on heart, you do not want to move out of town. We're gonna love it.
Yeah, I knew you would. I know when I'm beaten.
Though, if Tom and Kathleen ever do change their minds, the money spent on improvements has actually added around £33,000 to the value of their house.
You've had to make a lot of compromises, though, to stay here, haven't you? Mm-hmm. So I do love you for that. I appreciate it. And you'll get your dream house in a few years, probably.
I hope they've got that on film.
Well, listen, well done.
And thank you to both of you as well.
Very welcome.
Well, I think Phil hasn't done that much, really, has he?
Then again, occasionally, he has his uses.
Here you go. I bought you a drink. Hope you enjoy it.
I'm actually going to have a real drink for once. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well done.
I know we've been agonising for the last couple of days over whether we should stay or whether we should go. And I'm quite pleased that eventually we've come to the conclusion that staying is probably the right thing for the family.
I guess it is what it is.
He's earned a shed load of brownie points.
He's going to cash them in as well.
Tom's been very generous in the decision he's made, really, because he's put us before him and his wishes, not permanently, but for the time being he has, so I'm very, very happy.
You can have it back now, to be honest.
Cheers.
No, the world is as it should be. I'm drinking water, you're drinking beer, and you're losing.
I love you, really. I was talking to the pint.